All right, I thought we'd have a little bit more of a crowd today, but I want to thank all you ladies and gentlemen and friends and my family members for coming out. I know the weather was nice today, so that probably kept the crowd away. As I make my attempt to run for President of the United States, 2016 as an independent candidate. I'm planning on testing the waters and launching a political campaign. So I'm out today to try to attract some national media attention, and I'd like to try to organize a volunteer campaign staff to get things started. This is going to be a little bit different than a grassroots campaign. It's going to be more of a grass seed campaign, because we're going to have to go around and actually plant the seeds, wait for the roots to take shape for the campaign to grow. I'm undertaking this incredible journey as a culmination of 25 years of self-education, walking in the footsteps of several of our founding fathers, noble statesmen, and great presidents who were self-made men, much like myself, such as Ben Franklin, Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln from right here in the state of Illinois. I would also like to pay homage to a man that I've admired most of my adult life, who attempted to do the same thing back in the 90s, H. Ross Perot. I'm starting my campaign 2 years out from the election because I'm a virtual unknown with limited resources, which necessitates the fact that I'm still going to have to continue to work full time in order to make this happen. For those of you who are familiar, this is going to be more of a marathon than a sprint like the major party candidates would have. I also wanted to be the first one to make an impact by drawing attention to the real issues that the other candidates are not going to confront in the public forum, by educating the voting public about the truth of what's really going on in this country without all the hype and spin. The reason why I decided to run for president this time involved on several different fronts, which I'll try to address today. The main reason is so that I can no longer tolerate sitting idly. While the American dream of opportunity and future prosperity for our children and our grandchildren, along with the country and the Constitution, are being insidiously destroyed by a small minority of the wealthy elite people, their elected politicians, and the appointed minions. They have infiltrated and manipulated and corrupted the U.S. government for over 100 years in a covert attempt to overthrow the democracy, to dominate the world both militarily and financially, as what they would like to call the New World Order. You might have also heard of it as the One World Government, or what they're commonly calling today globalization. James Warburg, addressing the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in February 17th of 1950, stated we shall have world government, whether or not we like it, by conquest or by conquer. Now I say covertly because I have studied U.S. history in every election for the last 100 years. Every campaign platform of every candidate, not a single candidate has ever mentioned the New World Order. They tried to trash the Founding Fathers' idea of democracy and the U.S. economy in the process to go with their scheme for one world government. How about if we pretend that we are going to have Mexican immigration reform, and they lied to the public because George Bush, when he was in his administration before Barack Obama got elected, entered into a secret agreement with the Canadian and Mexican government to have an open borders pact. And while we're at it, let's go with our friends in the media, no disrespect today, who propagandize gun violence in the country. I can't understand why they would want to get honest law-abiding citizens to register their firearms. They're going to stage some kind of a national disaster so that they can declare martial law, throw away the Constitution completely, and then be able to confiscate everyone's guns. If none of that works, they're going to continue their financial chaos to run up the national debt enough so that the country is finally bankrupt. When the country is finally bankrupt, they're going to call in the United Nations peacekeeping force to take over the country in order to form the North American Union. We can have a real plutocratic socialist state, and the American people won't be able to do a damn thing about it. Then the government will take over and patrol the skies with their armed drone aircraft and keep all the insurrection at bay. I don't know about you folks, but I never voted for that. And I don't think that I would. You see, the democracy here in America has been on a slow death march down the dark path to the shadow of plutocracy, bordering on outright socialism, disguised as democracy, ever since the Civil War ended. It was ushered into the country by the robber barons, the megalomaniacs like John Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, and Cornelius Vanderbilt, the international bankers that financed them during the 30-year depression that followed the Civil War. And they have been in control of the government covertly ever since the Wilson administration. You might wonder to yourself why every election that is taking place, things never seem to change. It's because of the last 100 years, every president that we've had, every major long-term senator and congressman have been compensated puppets of the international bankers, Wall Street, and the multinational corporations. I'd like to make some other points to go along and give the folks here a chance to ask questions if they would like. Regarding the national debt, many of you have heard on the news the politicians talking about the national debt. The national debt is the biggest crisis that the United States is facing right now. They tell you that if we don't do anything about paying down the national debt, that it's going to carry over to our children and our grandchildren, and they'll be financially destitute. The fact is, the national debt will never be paid for. It's all a scheme. The national debt consists of money that is actually in circulation. All the American dollars that they have out there circulated all around the world. In order for the national debt to be paid back, we would have no money. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, I also want to talk about guns. There's a constant threat, according to the media today, that guns are out of control here in the United States. And as I said earlier, they're trying to make an attempt to get the gun owners to register their guns. And what I feel is an attempt for them to eventually be able to confiscate the guns from the licensed gun owners. No, we can't allow that to happen. Part of the reason why government is so out of control is because the founding fathers had a system of checks and balances. They felt that everything in the country needed to be regulated and have rules because there were a lot of people in government, even in the early days, that couldn't be trusted. If you look around today, I think you can realize that a lot of the people that we have in government now can't be trusted. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'd like to make this short, so I'm going to go ahead and close and say that I can't do this without you. I would like to send a message out to the country that the government still belongs to the people. I would like to try to raise most of my campaign funds from direct donations from the public so that I can actually be the president of the people. You hear so much today about the corporate money that's rolling into elections. And we just had the Supreme Court Citizens United decision that allows for an unlimited amount of money to flow into candidates' elections, which can totally manipulate the way that the government is going to be elected from now on. What I'd like to request from the public is a $20 donation from each person. That would amount to paying the president $5 a year out of your own pocket for 4 years to elect the man that you really want to have in office. That's a pretty reasonable amount of money to ask for. So I've got my Bucket for Bucks promotion that we're going to be taking around when we make other stops if we can generate some excitement from all this. And I'd like to ask the public to feel free to contact the campaign and to donate at Council 2016 at P.O. Box 10066, Loves Park, Illinois 61131. And you can follow us on Facebook at the Council Campaign. Additionally, I would like to encourage everyone to vote in the upcoming midterm elections, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this so early, because I wanted to get the message out that each and every one of you should try to cast your vote for a new candidate, no matter what party they belong to try to get the incumbent out of office. And I'd also like to see everyone try to support the new candidates that come out in the 2016 election. I'm going to leave you with a couple of quotes today. One of them is from Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. Another quote that I'd like to leave you with is from a friend of mine named Houston Sterling, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this today, because Houston used to always tell me, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that's the direction that the American public is going. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today.